Yeah. And also, you can do the introduction, right? Like, hey, blah blah blah,
Yeah,
like the
sure.
intro, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
And then we'll just talk. I'm gonna just talk about like his beginnings, and then kind of lead all the way through to Charlotte. And
Yeah, I'll do my thing, man.
yeah, right, cool.
Because I don't give a fuck.
No Fuchs given. Christian,
Hi.
Christian,
good morning, sir.
Good morning. How are you guys?
Good, buddy. How are you?
we're good. How are you?
Short night.
Me too. I was just telling that to Lee. I was like, damn it, man. 9 o'clock on a Sunday morning. I mean, I have kids, so I'd be up anyway. But man, I stayed up a little bit too late myself.
Yeah, it was after a game I can never sleep, so it was like 3 a.m. or something.
We were talking about that yesterday. About just like even when you do something like this, you just get ramped up in your system. You have to I know like rock and roll stars or anybody like if you're doing a theater and a play, it's like afterwards you're just so jazzed already. You literally have to take a long time and do some stuff just to calm it down.
That's right.
That was a big night tonight, right? I mean, they had the Lightning's the 40 years of the Lightning, right?
40th anniversary, yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
So you got to meet some of the players and that kind of stuff.
I got to meet him the day before. We had kind of a reception.
Right.
And it was interesting. It was some interesting characters there as well.
Nice.
It was good to get the win last night, right? On the night.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you have such an occasion. You have all those, a lot of them players there that won the championship back then.
Yeah.
Well,
it's like
you gotta win that game. You gotta win that game.
Yeah, right. Well, also too, you're celebrating their old championship. This is probably the last time they'll really be out there, so they had to really make it worth it last night as well. It's like, hey, if they're bringing us up here, let's make it worth it, boys.
Oh, that story in itself, though, is just a crazy story. Like reading what Ashley and Ryan put out there, where people were driving the buses and then they were all of a sudden playing, and it was just crazy. It's just like almost as good as the Leicester story when you guys won the championship.
I guess it worked at the right time for everybody.
Yeah. Hey, just in life, it's all about timing, man. It's all about timing. In so many ways. All right, I'll do a quick intro just so we have a clean one, and then we'll just. And Christian, I don't know if Lee told you, we just, we're fans, but we just take it nice and easy, and we'll just have a fun conversation. He'll ask you the real soccer questions or football questions, and I'll be the one asking you the dumbass questions about food in Austria and stuff like that.
Of course, yeah.
Hey, I'm JT. Hold on, let me just do it right that's Lee. And this, of course, is Christian Fuchs. And this is CLTFC Fan TV for the fans, by the fans, damn it. So it's Sunday morning. Christian, we really appreciate your time. Hey, aren't you pounding the drum today?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, what time do you have to be over at the stadium?
Well, right after the interview, I'm leaving. Let's see. It's pretty soon.
All right. And did they give you any pointers? Were you allowed to even practice on the big drum?
How? I had an important game yesterday. I had to save my energy for the game, but now today, I think I'm still in okay shape.
All right. Well, pound, because last week they didn't do it, and a lot of fans got pissed off because it's a tradition. So you're going to be the first one since the pandemic to actually be there in the stadium pounding like 2 years.
Here we go.
Pound the living shit out of that drum today.
It's a perfect location.
We need the win, man. It's going to be a big one. All right, Lee.
Pressure. So, Christian, man, thanks for coming on the show, man. We really appreciate it. I know you're a busy man and that kind of stuff. So we're just going to kind of start out from like your beginning days, right? When you were like a wee lad over in Austria, and how you like made it all the way over to the States and now playing for Charlotte. independence via Charlotte FC. So obviously you were from Austria, right? And I believe your dad was an amateur goalkeeper, right, or something like that.
He was a goalkeeper. That's correct.
Is that how you got into the soccer? I mean, I know Europe in general is a soccer nation side. I was just curious to see if that was a big influence on your.
Yes, of course. I mean, the number one sport in Austria is football. That's what it is. Everybody's playing football in the backyard. But the reason how I got into football is my dad, when I was you asking me a question, that's so long ago. When I was 6 years old, he took over a local club. I became the president of the club, and obviously I was there then every day, basically, kicking the ball, and of course I played for the club. That's as simple as it was. My dad taking over a club as president. That's all.
So that's your big start, right? The big long journey you've had since.
That's sweet though. Like the idea of just, like you have some different players in all sports that their parents, if they're coaches or whatever, the kids are in the locker room, they're around it all the time. And I would bet, probably 60-70% of them actually go into that sport in some form or fashion. So that's cool. So you were in the locker room, you're hanging out with everybody all the time for years and years and years.
With the old players, yeah.
Yeah.
I did.
You learned a lot starting out, because I bet they weren't. Like, the kids here, they're like, whatever.
I think it was a different environment back then growing up.
Nice.
You were simply, if it wasn't for that reason, you were simply outside nonstop all day long. You go to school, you go home, you meet friends, you go to the park, you play. That I think that was very supportive in terms of me becoming a footballer.
Yeah, so when I was growing up in England, there was this big thing we used to play called 3 and in. I don't know if you're familiar with that. Basically, you're the goalkeeper.
What is that?
You're the goalkeeper, right? And obviously your buddy's playing as a striker or whatever. And then once he scores 3 goals, he goes in goal, right? And you kind of just swap out. So it was just a game that we played over in the parks in England growing up.
Who wants to be goalkeeper? I would always miss.
Always miss, but then you got to go get it, right? And then it's like 6 hours, and then you go and get the ball. So
got it.
So, but I guess you signed your first professional contract at the age of 17 for SV Magdeburg. Am I saying that right? Mattersburg. Yeah. So. Yeah. So how did that come about? Like, so tell us a little bit, right? I mean, obviously you don't have to go into the personal details of it, but as a young lad and you get your first professional contract, how that goes down?
Yeah, it was great to get a professional contract that young. That was amazing. But the story behind this was that when I was 11 years old, I was told by, I'm not mentioning any names, I don't know how this interview reaches, but I was told by an academy director from one of those first league academies, not good enough. Sorry, not good enough. I was 11, and hearing this as 11 can be devastating.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's about how much support you have, what people you have behind you, but also how personally, if you let yourself down or if you take it as a motivation.
Right.
Me was the second one. I took it as a motivation, but having great people that supported me and they were standing behind me. One of them was my coach for a long time, still my coach, running my academy in Austria, so big friendship there, but he was very supportive, and 6 years later I'm signing my first contract. So that was, of course, a big thing for me, playing with some of those players that I was standing at the fence asking for autographs, and suddenly I'm on the field with them. Maybe I turned away from them as fans because I realized how they are. Rougher growing up, I guess, in that age. But overall, it was them pushing me because they saw that, he's not going to stay in Austria at Mattersburg for too long. He has big opportunities, great opportunities out there. And I guess that's why they were a little bit harder on me than anybody else.
So you just mentioned that, you kind of turned away from them as a fan because you kind of figured out the way they are. Like, everybody I talk to, like I got some mates that are big Leicester fans, and you know, from England, and that's something that they just say how great you were with the fans. Was that?
Well, you don't know me yet.
Don't meet your heroes, is what they say. Don't ever meet your heroes. So.
Well, I hope I'm pretty approachable.
Yeah. I mean, I say you will, right? I give you a hard time out there at the Memorial Stadium, and you know, on the Instagram, I bug you all the time. So, you know, you seem pretty personable.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
It's all
I'm easy-going. Cheers.
Yeah. So after Mattersburg, right? You went to Schalke.
Schalke.
Yeah.
No, I didn't. I didn't go to Schalke.
You didn't?
No. See,
Sure.
I know you impressed me by how you informed you. You spoke about my dad and everything. No, after Mattersburg, it was Bochum. It was also in the German Bundesliga. Bochum, Mainz, and then Schalke. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So at one point though, you were a striker and then somehow converted to a defender. How did that come about?
I was a striker growing up playing football. I had this conversation with Brendan Rodgers last season. And it seems to be like 80-90% of all players started out as strikers. Yeah. And then everybody kind of converts backwards. Which I think is a good thing, because you kind of understand the dynamics. So even if you're a defender, you might understand a little bit better how strikers think, how they want to move. So I don't think it's something bad, but it happens frequently. Yeah.
Yeah, so, you know, back in my days when I was a stud as well, you know, I was like a sweeper center back, right? That was kind of where I like to play, you know, just go in.
Chilling right, standing in the back, that's it.
That's funny. But you mentioned the striker, you know, understanding the role in that position and then going to being a left back or center back or whatever a defender would say. So who was that one player though that when you had to stand up, you knew you was playing against in that week, you know, in the Premier League or before that, you know, you just, damn it, I got to put a shift in today. You know,
I think overall it was always Bayern Munich.
Yeah.
And Bayern Munich had two amazing wingers back then, which was Robben and Ribéry.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, on my side was Robben. That was very tough. The thing with him is he's so quick, or he was quick. He always knew what he's gonna do. The problem is, you know when he's gonna do it. You know, cutting inside, crossing or shooting, you just don't know when he's gonna do it.
Right.
And the second you see he's doing it, it's too late.
By the time you know that he's doing it, it's all too late.
That's what it is. And the thing with him was as well, if you were isolated in a 1v1 against him defensively, the problem is, okay, I can close the middle, but then it's just going down the line. So it kind of didn't work out too well. All the time.
So you'd have to guess sometimes what he's doing. As soon as you did, he'd be like, "No, I'm not doing that. I'm actually doing this."
You have to try to be as close as possible in the build-up so they don't pass the ball to him. That's the best defense.
Nice.
Just don't go in and get beat, right? Otherwise, it shows you up.
Hey, let me pepper in, because we're where we are in the youth story and the growing up. This is one thing I wonder, because a lot of professional athletes, your body and taking care of your body is worth so much and everything. Growing up in Austria, I'm assuming you skied.
I did, yeah.
Yeah. So at any point were they like, "Hey man, off season, no more skiing because you could screw up your ankle"? Did they ever tell you, like, hey, you know, riding a motorcycle is one thing or whatever, but like, "Hey man, Matterhorn, don't do it. No more skiing"?
Not once. No.
Nice.
They make it a little bit different. They say, "Listen, it's a clause in a contract. You have to do everything you have to take care of your body. You have to do everything in the best interest of your health."
Yeah. So you can be like, skiing's great exercise, helps the fast twitch muscles.
Yeah. So they cannot tell you, no, you cannot ski, but if you ski, you're screwed. And something happens, you're screwed.
Yeah. Stay away from the rocks and the trees and wear a helmet.
I was skiing several times throughout the last years. Yeah, why not?
Nice.
The last time I was upstate New York, so that was just recently. That was 2 years ago or something. Yeah, it was interesting. I love skiing. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm the best skier, but I know how to ski, and that's just normal for us.
But
Nice.
I'll tell you, there's some decent skiing in West Virginia that's probably about 2.5 hours from here. So in the off season.
Yeah, comparing the East Coast skiing to Austria,
Oh, I'm sure.
Alps, you know.
I'm just saying if you needed a weekend away or something. But
At least go to,
Why not?
Colorado or something.
But to JT's point though about getting injured, you were playing in the UEFA Champions League, right? And had a long-term knee injury, I believe.
did,
that
yeah.
kinda set you back a little bit. How does that mentality work, right? Like, hey, shit, I'm injured, and now I've got to kind of be away from the group.
Well, it's never ideal.
Yeah.
to say it in a nice way, it sucks. It really sucks. I think that what you find yourself doing, then you find, being on the field and training hard and outpowering yourself is something that's satisfying at the end of the day. You go to training, you come back home, you feel fresh after a good session. So now, when you don't have that, you look for something else that replaces that feeling. So what happened there is that I got addicted going to the gym.
Right.
So it's kind of a substitution for my training, going to the gym, hitting the bike, hitting the weights and everything. And it kind of shortens the time. You don't think too much. The head is the problem with an injury.
Right.
Huh.
You cannot do anything about the body. It recovers itself after surgery. It takes care of itself, right? You get the treatment, you have the right people around, but the head is the problem. Now, if you don't get yourself satisfied in some kind of way, you can get really frustrated. The issue with the injury that I had the second time when I was injured is that I had multiple scans. I was not able to bend my knee. I mean, this was, I don't know how to show you guys, but this was the maximum I was able to bend my knee.
Right.
And multiple scans, and nobody ever saw anything until they told me, listen, go and see the shrink. Right? I'm like, nope, because I'm in pain. And I just took off. I told them, listen, I have to go. I have to have a surgery. I cannot take it anymore. The painkillers don't help. I'm not happy. My muscle was shrinking on that knee, on the whole leg. Sorry. So as I went to the surgery, oh yeah, there was something in there that was sticking out from the cartilage into my knee, and that was done. On top of that, I had a bone bruise, so that also hurt a lot.
Yeah.
But the second that was done, boom, 4 weeks, I felt better. I was not match ready, but I felt better. And sometimes you have to make those decisions for yourself, and then you're happy. Again, I was happy with those. It was eight months where I was in full-blown pain. Then for me, the recovery phase, which was another 3-4 months, it felt like heaven, to be honest.
Yeah.
That was really good. Yeah.
So hold on, you're saying that in all the scans and the MRIs and all the modern technology, they couldn't see that cartilage, and you're like, listen, it's there. I'm not bullshitting you. I don't need to go to shrink. But once you went under the knife, they literally did not know what it was until you went under the knife, and they're like, oh, okay, that's what we didn't see. And there you go. So you were like, hey, I don't know what's going on, but you better cut in and figure it out because it is screwed up.
That's basically what happened. Yeah, that's basically what happened.
That is.
I had like 4 or 5 MRIs. Nobody could see anything. It was treated all the time, but didn't get better for 8 months.
Wow.
The lesson learned there is just go straight to surgery, screw the rest
But
of
you
it.
know what's very interesting? I still know exactly the moment, the setup, the situation when it happened.
It's crazy how you remember that
I
stuff,
know
right?
exactly. We played away at Hanover. It was the youth who shot the ball. I was blocking it on the line. He swung through with his right foot and hit my knee. and I was sprinting after the ball because I blocked it. But I know that's when it happened.
Mm.
I know exactly the moment. That's crazy. That's interesting.
Yeah. I was gonna say, don't dwell on that. Don't bring yourself back to that moment too much.
No, I'm over it. I'm not blocking shots anymore.
Are you sure we can be your shrinks? Talk to us, man.
Yes.
Get it off your chest. So we'll fast forward a little bit. So then, obviously, I don't know if it was your highlight, but the biggest thing I know you for is your time at Leicester, right? Nigel Pearson brought you in, and obviously the 5,001 odds of winning the league that year. So tell us how that worked, because I guess Claudio was the manager at that time that you guys won the league, right? But because Nigel, I believe, brought Leicester up, and then Claudio kind of came in and took over, and then for some reason I think he was only there for a year, right, Claudio?
No, he was there for 1.5 years.
18 months or something. So which is always odd to me, because you guys won the league and then he was let go, but that's getting off track. So I guess to my question is like, that year you guys really upset me, being a Spurs fan, and I know you. I keep bringing this up every time I talk to you. So we need to end this interview now.
Becoming third place in a 2-horse race. I love that saying. That's Spurs for you that season.
It's Spurs. I've supported Spurs for 40-something years, and we haven't won shit but the Audi Cup and a couple of other Mickey Mouse Cups. Your career and how great it was for you. So, obviously you guys were a big underdog. Nobody was expecting you to win, right? And, there was a lot of 1-0 wins from what I remember, right? You guys remind me of like a rubber band or elastic band, right? You kind of bend and then you hit everybody on the break, and, as quick as Vardy is and everything. It was a magical season. I won't take that away from you. So, like, how was the locker room? How was the spirit? Because I know had to be some pressure on you guys being that of an underdog. And
no, that's the thing. It sounds so weird, and nobody would believe that, but we did not have pressure at all.
Really? No. It's hard to believe.
Well, no one expected them to win. I mean, of course they would have pressure.
Listen, you're talking about a team. You're talking about players that, first of all, a lot of them, or some of them, came towards the end of their career, so they were done already with football.
Right.
Second, most of them were disliked by their former clubs. Right. That was me. That was me as well. And then you had some great upcoming talent. So that was kind of the mix, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I cannot tell you the special stories, but I can tell you it was such a great camaraderie that made everything happen. That made everything possible. It was just the togetherness on and off the field, and simply everything worked. Everything worked. We played our
timing, like we said earlier. It's all about timing. Everything came together.
We played ourselves in such a flow that for us it was only a matter of time. Whatever game we approached, just a matter of time when we score, we don't concede. We score, we don't concede.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm not going into details now, but I had some interesting nights with Robert Huth the day before a game. Let's call it interesting.
Yeah.
It was like a cup, and we went out there. There was the day before the West Bromwich game at home. Went to his apartment, had a nice dinner, had a glass of wine or 2 or 3, something, and we go out and win the game. We're playing our asses off, and we win, and we play hard, we play strong, and I spoke to a couple of sports scientists about that season, right, and how things were completely upside down, not how it's supposed to be,
right?
And you can do everything as right as you want, but if you're not happy, that's the first thing. If you're not happy, if you're not comfortable, it's all about the head. Then you cannot perform.
Right.
So if everything is right here, if the manager gives you the freedom to express yourself and trusts you, right, then you're in a good place. So you can do as much sports science as you want. Yeah, it's great, right? It's great. You can get those last couple of percentages out of every player. But if this here doesn't work right, if this here is not okay, then it's for nothing. And that season, this was spot on.
Nice.
We just enjoyed ourselves. We just really enjoyed it. And there was no pressure. There was literally no pressure. When this video that I posted on Twitter, right, which is by the way an NFT, this video that I posted, only until the final whistle blew. And that really was the mindset, no joking, no exaggeration. For me, only when the final whistle blew, we became favorites to win the league. Up until then, for me, Tottenham was still favorite to win the league. But obviously, when the whistle blew, we were champions. But that's when we became favorite for me. No joke. That's the honest truth.
Well, to top that season off, because I mean, English press can be a bastard, anyways, right? So that's why I have a hard time understanding.
They were just waiting for us to crumble, and we were like, okay, listen, we're not gonna do you the favor. We didn't care about what they're gonna say. We knew that everybody wanted us. Or was just waiting for us to lose and dropping points and all that. But what we did is we just went on, we enjoyed ourselves, and eventually people started to see Leicester as their second favorite team, and they supported us up until we qualified for Champions League, when there was a petition going on to collect signatures for us not to play in the Champions League, not to represent England in the Champions League. But guess what? We were the most successful Premier League team in the Champions League.
Yeah. You sure were.
I love it. There was always something going on with Leicester, and it was always very interesting, a lot of life lessons learned.
How do you bring those lessons that you learned to Charlotte FC and this brand new team? And like you said, just like no pressure and the camaraderie, the team. Because I know you've been brought in not just for your skills, but obviously for your mentorship and kind of teach the young guys, this is how to do it. How do you translate what you were just talking about besides drinking wine?
I see playing for independence right now as kind of a trial. How much I can bring to the players. For me, it was first of all important to understand the professional culture here, to understand what level I'm at, right? And it's a fairly decent level, to be honest. But I'm measuring myself right now. I wanna improve that team of the Charlotte Independence right now, because then I know it will be probably a step up with the MLS, with Charlotte FC. But I kind of learn right now, being in more in this role of having this career behind me. With young players only, which was not the case at Leicester at all, because everybody was pretty experienced, right? So it's a trial for me, and I think we have improved massively over the last couple of weeks. I mean, the win yesterday was the third. Since I came, 8 games, 1 loss only, which is not bad. Good record, and now we have 3 clean sheets in a row with 9 goals scored. So what I see with young players, also with Brent Bronico, Adam, Armour, but all the other players as well, they are developing. And it was at the beginning for me observing to see what they do. And sometimes it doesn't take a lot of adjustment or a lot of knowledge that I need to pass on. It's just small things that make them already so much better. And they are so eager to take it on board, because they want to become their best selves, right? And they're young players, so they still have a lot of years to go. And it has been very interesting how quickly that was for me the most significant one, the mindset of players. So
now, Brian, sorry, go ahead.
So you can be a great footballer, right? But you need this hunger, the mindset, the winning mentality. That's something that is so well needed. And to me, when I came here, everything was nice. Everybody was playing nice football, but there was no aggression. There was no desire, right? So in my first training, I made a slide tackle, and Gabriel Obertan said to me, "Hey, what is that?" we're not doing that here. I'm like, they're gonna get used to it. And now in training, it's really a fight for the spots. It's really it's giving each other some shite as well, verbally, because everybody now sees, okay, this is something good here right now. We want to be successful, and it takes hey, leave me alone, fuck off, right? Yeah. It takes that at times, and this is something that really grew over time now, and I love it.
Well, banter and that fellowship is always helps, right? It makes you want to fight for each other on the pitch. I see you and Brent seem to be getting along pretty well. He has that grind set thing. I watched y'all's workout after you flew, I believe. I forget what game it was, but you guys were coming through the airport and Brent doing his workouts and stuff. So
it was Tampa. I think it was Tampa.
Yeah, it was Tampa. You're right, and it's just good to see that you guys are kind of getting along like that, right? Because to me, that just transfers over to the pitch. And
the boys are good, really. The boys are good. Great characters, and that's the main thing about a team. You need good characters.
Christian, I think you need to write some sort of manual on your lessons and everything and what you've learned and stuff. It seems like I'm not talking about a big book, but it's just like life lessons by Christian Fuchs or something like that. So
I trust we all have our life lessons. It's not only me, but I've had 17 and a half years of playing career so far. So there's a lot that I've learned, especially on the football side of things, and I'm very eager to pass that on. But there are so many more life lessons that are probably along the way.
Well, I guess the point is write them down, keep them somewhere.
They're here. They're all here. Don't worry, they are not getting lost.
Well, all right.
Hopefully, they're not getting lost.
One too many headers. So we're coming into the Charlotte realm now, right? Obviously, Steve Walsh was a part of Leicester and that sort of thing, and I know that you've had those conversations with him, when you were at Leicester, and so was there? And actually, your wife being in New York, right? And that's kind of, I'm assuming that's where you're going to kind of end up when you're playing days. Right? So, how did that conversation go? Hey, we got this new MLS team that's starting in 2022, right? And
No, it was a different conversation.
Okay.
Very different. Hey, we have this new MLS team starting in 2021. I'm like, cool.
2021, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say, I had that in my notes. It's like this was planning for so long, and then COVID.
Yeah, so literally that was 1 week before COVID hit. I met with Steve Walsh and Soren Gretna in London, and it doesn't listen. If Steve Walsh is involved, that's all I need, because he made me a Premier League champion by scouting me for Leicester and signing me for Leicester. Or recommending me to Leicester to sign me, and that I don't need anything else. I think it would have been back then, if he was really starting off at 2021, it would have probably been 1 year too early for me to make that step across the pond, because Brendan Rodgers just came in and I had the feeling, okay, there's so much on the football side and on the mentorship side that I can still learn from him. I was not really eager to leave at that stage.
Yeah.
So I know COVID is not good, but in certain things, it really helped me as well. And I think that's it helped me having this extra year with Brendan Rodgers, but it also helps me now being in the inaugural season with Charlotte FC, which is something that I'm very proud of. Literally, it doesn't happen too often that as a footballer you can be a part of a complete new franchise.
That's one thing we're so excited about on our end too, is just fans and everything, is creating a culture. Yeah. Everything is new. It's brand new. Even we don't have the chairs yet. We don't have anything for the most part. And to be a part of, you look back from 10 years from now or whatever to say, oh, we were there when that happened, or we helped start this, or whatever. That's one thing that excites me a lot about it, is just helping create in southern, the Southeast, like tailgating and stuff. And now Bojangles is a sponsor. I don't know how many biscuits you get to eat or want to eat. Well, that reminds me real quick. I was trying to think about it. What was like your favorite food in Austria? Or is there a specific Austrian food that you're like, oh man, that...
You're kidding me? You're kidding me. I miss Austrian food so much.
Yeah, but what's something that you're like, oh man, you can never find it, obviously, unless even in New York City you couldn't find it. You know, what's something that you really miss?
That's the thing. Some friends of mine, they have Austrian restaurants in New York City, so I find it there. But I didn't find it in England. No chance. Literally only 1 week before I left England, I met a friend of mine now who owns an Austrian restaurant, like a traditional Austrian restaurant. He is Austrian in London, and I went there. That was 1 week before I had to leave England. So all this time, 6 years, I have not seen a really good Austrian restaurant. 1 week before I left, I found this guy.
Well, what's the dish?
There are several dishes, but my two favorite ones by far is, well, there are two variations of the first one. So it's a schnitzel. Everybody knows schnitzel, but there's a variation of it. It's called cordon bleu. I don't know if you have ever heard of that.
Yeah, like the ham and chicken.
Ham? No, it's still veal, but it's ham and cheese inside 2 layers of schnitzel. Unbelievable.
Dude,
I'm just gonna take your word for that.
Hey, no. What we gotta do is get one of those and then get a Bojangles biscuit, slice it, and have that schnitzel, whatever we call it, biscuit. Fuchs, that could be the shit, man. That could be like the best thing ever.
Well, I doubt it. And the other one is Kaiserschmarrn.
And what's that?
Kaiserschmarrn is a thick layer of pancake. Then you just pull it apart, and you put sugar on top. You have some plum sauce, something like that.
Nice.
You have to check it out. It's so good. It can be caramelized at times. They're different in different variations, but just look it up.
I'm gonna be the one editing this later on, so I'm gonna slow it down right when you describe it, and I'll look it up and we'll figure it out. Hey, what's up with this this distillery stuff you got going with your name on it and everything?
It's very interesting. I'm just trying to get everything sorted here in the US. We are so close. Just needs a couple of more details, but it's overall the No Fuchs Given brand is as you can imagine, a play on my name.
Yeah.
You see. See, they do the Premier League is really checking on players' accounts, right? Because if you break some rules, you can be suspended for games by not behaving by not being a role model on social media. Now, what happens? They send an analysis to the club, and the club do their own analysis as well. And there's a ranking of inappropriate words.
Fair enough.
And there's some players that have nothing, they're fine, they're probably also not posting. And then there are players that used or liked or shared some content that might be on the edge, on the word, something like that. And there's a ranking with how many, 1, 10, 15, 20. So kind of 20 or 15 was the most amongst players. But then there was a category on top of that, which was me, which was 150. But the reason, because it was flagged, was my name.
Yeah.
So I call myself the only professional footballer that's legally allowed to curse.
Is Fuchs a common name in Austria?
Very common. It's Fox. It means fox.
Yeah.
It's just funny we end up at the Foxes, right? And it's just funny how that worked out.
Yeah,
but that's gotta be frustrating though, knowing like in on media and like, because I heard you on the radio the other day and stuff too, that you can't pronounce your name properly because it sounds too much like Fuchs. There's Fuchs and there's Fuchs, but you can't be like, hey, I'm saying my name, damn it. I'm not saying Fuchs as in plural. I'm saying Fuchs as in Christian. What the hell's wrong with you? But you knew, you can't. I mean, it is what it is.
It is what it is, and I cannot change my name, and I don't want to change my name because I don't have the benefit of the no experience brand.
Well, did any of your old friends or anything, or people that knew you growing up and stuff, did they give you shit from Austria because you have to say Fuchs? You're like, what's this Fuchs? It's Fuchs.
No, not because for them it's a regular name. Like you say Fox, they say Fuchs. There's nothing out of the ordinary. It's like a John Smith. That's what it is. It's like John Smith. That's it.
Well, I don't give a Smith either, man.
Correct. Here we go. No Smith given.
No Smith given. That's right. So, Christian, before we let you go, buddy, I want to just talk about your academy because I know you've got a lot of stuff going on. You are like an entrepreneur for sure. So, you're still we'll expect some alcohol from you in the upcoming weeks, is what I'm hearing.
Working on it. I'm just doing the government warning labels.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm serious.
Yeah, we're ready to test that and give you some quality control. And then, if you want to talk about your academy, because I know you do a lot of stuff with the kids. And so, what's going on there?
There's too much going on. Oh my God. We are on there now for 40 minutes. Do we have another 40 minutes?
Hey man, you just gotta go bang the drum.
I do. I literally do. I need to get ready. I get showered. Well, we started it about 7 years ago. One summer camp. Now we have 300 players in the US, 15 teams, something like that. We have locations in the US, in England, in Leicester, London, and in Austria, and it's been going really well because in England they have some kind of a program that's called it's a scholarship program, government funded, and I will get to why I'm talking about England, right? Because it's also benefiting the US kids. And we are our own college basically over there. We are hiring tutors, and it's from 16 to 19, and we try to create pathways for players, for young talent into professional football or back into professional football. Because right now we have the reputation. I mean, I just did the stats since 2017, and you can compare it with NCAA Division 1,
right,
where we play.
Yep.
We won every year the league.
Nice.
So Division 1, Division 2, we won every time. Last year we were first and second. So it's that's where we are on that level. That's where we are. The reason why I'm talking about that is because we also have US players already right now there, because it's a great tool for them to expose themselves if they're really serious about the game.
Right.
Be exposed to professional teams. And in England, it's not only Premier League, it's Premier League, Championship, League 1, League 2 that are professional.
Right.
And we're putting on showcase games every month, at least 2 or 3, because they are coming to us now because they want to have a challenge. They want to compete on a high level.
Right.
And that's a great opportunity for our players. We've signed players already. We also signed a girl right now to the Leicester City women's first team. She just had a debut at the first team. And it's a great asset also for the players over here in the US, because we're doing everywhere we're doing it the same way, and we have the opportunities to house them overseas, to bring them in, and that's the idea behind Fox Hockey Academy. It's creating these opportunities for players to make it professional. And not everybody is like that. I know the US mindset is a little bit different. It's about college, education, all that. But in all fairness, if you're 16, 17 and you're not in a first team environment, you wait until 23, then listen, forget it. Focus on school, and leave soccer to itself. Because if you're not in a, and then I'm not saying that you play in a first team, but that you have the experience of training with them and have this competition, forget it. Just leave it alone, because it's gonna be too late.
But do you think that's a detriment though to the MLS, right? Because I mean, it's a fairly new league compared to England, right? Because like you said, like I remember going down to like standing at the fence watching Dagenham and Redbridge play, right? And just kind of watching the games every day or every week. And you know, like you said, we do the college thing over here, the draft and that kind of
Well,
thing.
the college thing works really well for American sports, but it's not suitable for football. It's not. It's not. 23. We're speaking to a lot of professional teams over there, and they're asking, how old is this kid? He just turned 17. Too old. How old is this kid? He just turned 17. Too old. That's every club. So they're looking at players 16 and younger. That's it. Now imagine 23, 7 years later.
Right.
I'm sorry. Did he ever play professional? No. Sorry. No.
Yeah. But do you think that hurts the U.S. like national team? Because now
I think the level where the MLS is at the moment, and listen, bear in mind, we're talking about European football. That's over 100 years old. We're talking about a league that's 25, 26 years old, something like that. So there's still a lot of development. I think right now where we are, it's fine.
Right.
But I think the MLS should probably look a little bit more at, okay, what works in Europe, what mistakes have been made in Europe, because not everything was fine in Europe from right away.
Right.
Not everything worked out great right away. But there were mistakes made, and they learned from the mistakes they made. So now we have, there's an amazing football culture in Europe, right?
Yeah.
Take this. You have the luxury of being a new league. Take this and just apply it here. Perfect.
Do you think that's what they're trying to do with the MLS next?
There's no relegation, so no, we don't.
Fair enough. Yeah, simple. To the point. No fucks.
That's right. No fucks given, man. No fucks given.
Listen, if you don't want to hear the truth, then I'm sorry. Then you're not gonna develop. That's what we call.
That's what we call a straight shooter. Christian is a straight shooter, not sugarcoating it, just bringing it straight on. I love it.
So, Christian, just one more question, man, for you, and then we'll let you go. So, when you're walking to the stadium or after you beat the drum, just remember that the Panthers might be looking for a kicker. So
I've heard.
You know, I don't know. I mean,
have you seen all my long balls yesterday?
What's that?
Have you seen all my 50, 60-yard passes yesterday?
Oh yes, of course.
I'm good to go.
Yeah, but you got to hit them through the uprights, though, right?
Oh, that's not an issue. That's
not an issue, right? You heard it here first, folks, right? You know, Christian Fuchs is going to kick the 70-yard field goal for the Panthers.
60. 70 might be a little bit too far for now without training, but 60, I think.
Well, the best part is you're already under Tepper Sports Entertainment, so the paperwork's real easy. Just kind of move one clause over here, whatever, and just however you can help Charlotte on the pitch.
I'm fine with that.
Be it football,
it's
football.
It's one club. I'm happy with that.
We're one club. I love it. Well, listen, thank you so much for doing this. We really appreciate it, and I just love that the people we're getting on our first team and building the culture, and that you're one of the leaders for that, because it's going to be a lot of fun and a lot of good football/soccer, and we're so lucky to have you here in Charlotte. So. Really appreciate it, and keep pounding today, and don't forget the mini bottles, however you're going to do it. Seriously, one day, because we're going to be around for a long time, one day I do want to sit down with you and sip, shoot, whatever we got to do, some of your liquor. We'll just...
You're talking to an Austrian, man. I can take a lot.
Nice. Hey, we'll find out.
Good.
Hey, Christian, anything you want to say to the fans, man, before we shut this down?
Yeah, I know we still have a couple of months to go until we start, but it has been amazing already how the culture grows, how the sport is growing, and we'll try, and what we will do is we will give our very best. We will give it a good shot in our first season, and it's gonna be a great experience for everybody, no matter what.
That's right. We're excited, man, and we appreciate your time and for taking your time out of your morning to kind of hang out with us and just.
No worries. You guys been so patient with me.
It's not the first time I've been stood up in my life.
Not the last one.
All right.
Okay, guys.
See ya. Have a great day.
Bye-bye. You too.
Bye-bye.
I'm going to make that biscuit, man. That biscuit with the strudel or whatever. What a great guy. That's great. I'm so stoked that he's on our team.